All right. Good morning, everyone. This is Brian. We're here for Forex Live, and today is Thursday, January 23rd. Here for the U.S. session. Going to be applying Forex Joe's methodology, going through the daily regimen for live trading, using that in conjunction with the daily reports, and seeing if we can find a few trades, a few setups for us to take today. Before we get started, as always, we need to let you know that unique experiences and past performances do not guarantee future results. As a matter of fact, newsflash, trading involves risk and may not be suitable for everyone. I'm going to pause for just a second and give you an opportunity to read through this, and then we can get on with our trading day. All right. That should probably be long enough. I think you guys all have that slide memorized. The biggest thing I always take away from this slide is the use of risk capital. Because if we're trading with anything other than that, we're typically trading solely on emotion, and that's a bad combination. Emotion is a horrible thing to have in our trading, causes us to make some bad decisions. So if we're not using risk capital, and Guido's going to come, bust our kneecaps if we don't pay him on Friday, then we're probably going to make some bad decisions or decisions outside of the normal parameters of what we would be trading. So let's go ahead and jump into this. What's going on today? Well, we should have a couple of things open. We're going to keep our finger off the button and do our exercise, do our homework. And we should have a couple of things open here today. The first thing is we need to have a trading terminal, which is this. It's MT4. And we have our template applied to it for the Pending Order Pro, FTT, Pending Order Pro, as a matter of fact. But you can use either. Pending Order Pro is just the clean look, and FTT, Pending Order Pro, has these thermal grids and session indicators on it. So we need to have those. The other thing we'll have open is our daily report, which can be found here in the members area by going to FX Alerts, down to Daily Report, and then selecting the very top one. That'll bring up this page, which is your daily report page on 22 currency pairs. And then the last thing that we should have open is our daily trading regimen, which is also found in the members area in a number of places. Found in the Downloads tab. It's found on your Live Trading tab, where you go for the schedule. You're able to see your report, the link for the daily trading regimen. And we'll be walking through this. This is Forex Joe's methodology, kind of broken down into a checklist. It gives us just some basic steps to follow for information to gather, which will help us keep our finger off the button until we gather all the right info and can make the proper trading decisions. So with that said, I have these printed out in front of me, and I'll be filling this out. Some of you may do it electronically. There is a word version of it. I'm still pretty tactile. I like to have it there and write on it. So that works best for me. Serves as a trading journal, and also, as I mentioned, it's just a checklist which keeps our finger off the button for a bit. All right. So with all that said, the last things we should have open also a calendar and a something to give us an indication of what the futures market's doing, and we'll get to those in just a second. So walking through our checklist, let's begin with the Euro USD, and here we are. We're currently trading at 36.59. So Euro USD currently trading at 36.59. First thing we're going to do on step one is gather our channel information. So we go over to the daily report, and we see that we have a channel bottom at 35.15, and we have a channel top at 35.63. 35.63. All right. Currently trading at 36.59, so we have to look over here at our support resistance numbers, and we see that this thing really blew out yesterday and exceeded the range of where Forex Joe had his numbers. The number we have right now below us for support is 36.47. We don't have resistance numbers above us, so we'll refer to that, to the thermal grid, as we get over there and start looking at the live market. The question we want to ask ourselves right now is, are we trending or oscillating? Next piece in the checklist. Trending or oscillating, I think we can all agree that we're in an upward trend today. So yes, the way to really confirm that is the next question, which is, has the channel been broken? Have we broken above 35.63 or below 35.15? And the answer there is yep, we smashed through it. So we have broken that channel. So yes, the channel has been broken. So we're in the trending market, upward trend, channel has been broken. Next up is our average range. And we like to see where have we been trading today. Well, today we've moved 138 pips. And our average range for this currency pair has only been, that 60 to 70 pip area. So it's been a very tight range here recently. It's actually probably closer to 70 to 80 pips. But either way, the range has been very, very tight. And today we really blew out of that with some news towards the end of the Asian session coming into London, it looks like. So that really saw some big moves. So we've moved 138 pips today. Why do we care about the average range? Well, let's say we're up here, we've moved 138 pips, and we typically only move 70 to 80. Let's say we see the absolute perfect setup to go long. May not be a great idea to go long since we've already moved 138 pips. Just kind of, as Forex Show likes to say, we might be at the end of the gravy train here. So we're at the end of the buffet line, as it might be. So, that's why we care about the average daily range. Next up is the news. So we like to pop over here, utilize our news piece. We need to see, is there any news on the horizon? What news is coming up that might be a potential pitfall for us? Well, we've had a lot of news already earlier today. Unemployment claims came out about half an hour ago. But we still have one more red report for the U.S., which is the existing home sales. That's a high-impact report. And what we're concerned about, we don't really necessarily trade the news. We just want to know when it's occurring so that we can adjust our trading plan accordingly. We don't want to be taking any new trades right in the face of news occurring. So it's 9 o'clock Eastern right now. News is coming up in 10 minutes, at 10 o'clock, so in 1 hour. We might be able to jump into a scalp trade right now, but we're not going to want to enter any brand new trades, let's say 15 minutes prior to news, 20 minutes prior to news. So we want to, hang back, let that news occur, and then make our trading decisions afterwards. So knowing that we have news coming up in an hour, if we don't find a scalp trade that we can take right away, what we'll do is we'll look for trading levels that would be outside of kind of the immediate range, and we'll be able to take into account any whips that occur with that news announcement. So news, yes, there is news coming up. And then finally, we ask ourselves what's happening in the futures market before we begin making any trading decisions. And what we like to see here is we look at the Dow, crude, gold, and silver, see what those guys are doing, and from there we can make some decisions. So what we see today is the Dow is down significantly. We've seen the Dow losing quite a few points here, down 100 points. Crude is slightly up, gold and silver slightly up. Dollar is down, and this is interesting. I mean, typically we see the Dow, crude, gold, and silver all following kind of the same direction. Right now, crude, gold, and silver are up. Crude only slightly. Dow is way down, and the dollar is down. Typically, when the Dow is dropping, the Dow would be the U.S. dollar would be gaining. But what's causing that difference right now is, it's kind of unhinged from its normal movement. So and we've seen this over the past past couple of weeks now, where we're seeing movement that's outside of what we would expect with the correlations there. So typically, as the Dow, as crude, as gold and silver move up, the dollar moves down, and then conversely, as these positions close, we're holding those positions liquid in U.S. dollars, which causes them to gain. So for negative Dow, negative crude, negative gold and silver, we see a positive U.S. dollar. So dollar is kind of consistent with what we expect from gold, silver, and crude, but it's odd that the Dow has unhinged so much. So that just again, kind of in that same note that we've had since the beginning of the year, is a note of caution. It's just telling us, hey, let's be careful. Things aren't working the way that we would expect them to work. So let's just be aware of that and take caution. Right now, overall, slight lean towards the positive side, which should give us, some dollar strength. But just very, 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 very slight. So, gathered a lot of information, and ultimately, we have kind of a mixed market, and we've got news coming up in about 50 minutes. So what are we going to do? What are we going to trade? We saw this really just spike up here during the end of the Asian session coming into London, and now it's just been kind of holding in a pretty tight range. I did have some news earlier on unemployment, which pushed the euro a bit higher, and now here we are again trying to figure out what to trade. Well, I've got a couple of things that we could look at. Short term, knowing that we've got 50 minutes prior to news, we could keep this in a pretty tight range. We have we mentioned that we had a channel, it wasn't even a channel bottom, a support resistance level at 36.47, which also aligns up with this red thermal grid level here at 36.47. So what we could do here is we've broken it. We haven't retested it. We saw this level as resistance, resistance, resistance. It finally broke it and it hasn't retested it. Now, I know this is at the end of the range, but we could certainly look here short term for a buy off of this level. Now, this would be very short term, though. We're not looking at this. We would close this trade down prior to the news occurring, so we don't get caught in any kind of a whip that might occur here. But for short term, for the next half hour anyway, we could certainly look to this for a potential buy and see if we couldn't pull some pips off of this on a quick retracement to retest that bottom level there. So we can go ahead here, move to buy, and give that a try. But again, we want to wait for news to occur. We'll put this one on. This is the only really key level that we're around right now. Any other level, I would wait until after news and see how price is reacting there. Depending on what news is, we may break back below this 36.47, and if we do, then we would obviously wait for it to break below, close below, and then we would take a sell on a retest of that level, depending on what the news actually is. But for a short-term trade, at least coming up prior to news, we're going to look here and see if we can't buy on a retest of this major level, which, again, resistance, resistance, resistance. Resistance is broken. It becomes support typically. So we would look to see if we can't peel a few pips off on a retest of that level. All right, so doing this again, we're going to go through it a little bit faster here, utilizing the pound USD. So we'll go a little bit faster for the pound USD, and then we'll go full speed on the US yen. The cool thing about this methodology is that we should be able to just spend 15, 20 minutes a day, and figure out where we'd like to trade, what we'd like to trade, and get ourselves set up. It doesn't have to be hugely time consuming. So pound USD, what are we seeing here? Well, on the pound USD, we are currently trading at 66.03. And what's our channel information telling us? Channel information says that we have a channel bottom at 65.29, and that is lining up on a short-term and midterm level. So that's a 2 of 3 channel there at 65.29. So let's put a little star by that. That's got a little extra oomph on it if we get there. To the top side, we have 66.47. So 66.47 is our channel top. All right. Next up, what are our support and resistance levels? Well, we're trading at 66.03. So, 6,600 is always going to be a whole number. 66.01 is a support resistance level on Forex Joe's report as well. And, that's going to be a decision point for us right now. What's going to happen around this whole number of 6,600. If we break back down, we have 65.36 to the downside and 66.57 to the upside. If we break through that, 67.22. If we break below 65.36, then we've got 65.17. All right. Trending or oscillating on this currency pair? Well, let's have a look. Looks like we're in a little bit of an upward trend, not quite like we saw the breakout there with that Euro USD, but seeing a bit of an upward trend for the day. It oscillated for a bit. We had that same break on news, oscillating again for a bit. But overall, it's moving to the upside. The big question, though, is has the channel been broken? Have we broken above 66.47 or below 65.29? And the answer there is no. 66.47 is way up here. So we have not broken out of our channel. All right. And finally, news. Well, yeah, we know that there is news coming up. And what's the futures market doing? Well, it's mixed, and it's actually telling us to be careful, have caution right now. So that won't have changed very much in the last few minutes. I would watch this mainly, you know, the floor traders for the futures, the pit traders are going to come online here in about 15 minutes, and we probably won't see much action at all until after that home sales report comes out. So keep an eye on your futures market after the pending home sales and see what that one, what that's looking like over there. All right, so what do we have to trade? What are our major levels? Well, 66.47, big level for us. It's a channel top, and so we can certainly look here to 66.47. If we push up there, we can look for a sell off of that level. So, you know, kind of normal conditions, we'd look here to 66.47, right there, and we'd look to park a sell order up here. I'm going to keep my stop fairly tight, not going to go crazy with this. We'll keep it at about 10 pips, and then for my take profit, we'll look to take profit at about 10 pips for take profit 1, and then we'll take profit 2 down here at this next thermal grid. From a buy aspect, well, we have the easiest, you know, is obviously 65.29. Oops, grabbed the wrong thing. 65.29. This is a 2 of 3 channel. Well, keep grabbing that wrong. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. 65.29. Yeah, this is a 2 of 3 channel, so it's a much larger, much heavier, more what am I trying to? What's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be a heavier channel for us. Let's just leave it at that. More well respected, maybe, since it's a 2 of 3 channel. We could certainly park a buy order here, and you know, if we float down there after news, it'd be a great spot to look. If we're looking for a short-term trade, obviously we've got this 65.96 right here, and it's been oscillating right here quite a bit. So if we want to take a short-term trade, we could certainly look to trade off of 65.96 and see if we can't grab a few pips on just a quick scalpers type trade, and you know, prior to news. But of course, this would be one of those trades that we'd want to monitor very, very closely and then shut down if it's not into a trade and into profit prior to that news event, you know, at least maybe 15 minutes or so prior to the news event. So we can play this quick scalp trade right here and see what we can do coming into news. Obviously, I'll shut all these down 15 minutes or so prior to news and just wait, and then we can re-enter after that announcement occurs. All right, last one that we'd have a look at, and again, if you guys have questions about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, please, you know, definitely let us know, because you know, this is we do the same thing class after class after class. This is you know, how we're trying to apply Forex Joe's methodology and learn it, and we do that through repetition. So if there's something I'm doing that you have questions about, please let me know. Or, you know, I think Forex Joe might be on the line today, and we can ask him as well for clarification if there's anything that's outside of what you're seeing in your training area, in your members area. All right, so once again, what is this? The US. Again, let's do one last one. We'll go a little bit faster on this one for the USD JPY, and then we'll see if we can turn it over to Forex Joe after that. Current price, 103.74. So we see 103.74. And what's our channel telling us? Well, let's pop over here to the daily report. We'll scroll down, and we see that we have a channel bottom at 104.05. Big number, 3 of 3 channel. Big number there, channel bottom 104.05. On the upside, we have 104.81 for our channel top. Support and resistance, well, we've already broken that, so 103.74. What's that telling us? Well, we have resistance above us at 103.85, and support below us at 103.15. If we break back to the upside, 104.05, which is lining up with that 3 of 3 channel. No surprise there. And then above that, 104.33. So we've got those levels. We already know, well, I shouldn't say we already know, but we looked at this a second ago. We're trending or oscillating. I think we can all agree that we're trending right now. We're in a bit of an upward trend. And, the next question is, has the channel been broken? Have we broken above 104.81 or below 104.05? And the answer there is yes, sirree. We have broken below 104.05. This is kind of an interesting piece right here. We talked about these key levels in the past, these 3 of 3 channels, and typically for trading above, and we have a big level like this below us, we're going to play the bounce the first time, and kind of true to what we typically see. Yesterday came to 104.05 and it bounced the first time. Came to 104.05 and it bounced the first time, and now we've finally broken through. And what are we going to do with this? Well, we'll talk about that in a second. So anyway, has the channel been broken? Yes, the channel has been broken. Is there news coming up? Yes. And what's the futures market doing? Kind of mixed right now, telling us to be cautious. All right. So we've got a lot of information here. We've gathered some good stuff. What are we going to trade? How are we going to trade this? Well, the first one that pops into mind is 104.05. That was a channel bottom. It was a 3 of 3 channel. We saw it bounce the first time. Now it's broken it and has been moving right through there. What we would expect now that we're trading below, we've got confirmation of the direction below this channel bottom, is we would look to sell this on a retest of this level. So, right here we can grab our sell lines. Just grab these, get some out of the way here. Line. Let's try that again. Here we go. We'll grab our sell lines. We can put a sell on right here at 104.05. We're going to keep it out of the way just a little bit. Give it a little bit of room here. About 7-8 pips or so. We'll take that stop loss there at 104.14, and then we'll look to take profit. Take profit quickly. Get about 10 pips or so, and then take profit too. Right down here as well. So we'll put that sell order on and let that one go. Now, of course, for this, we're the caveat here is we do have news coming up, so we'll only be in this trade for 15 minutes or so. Then we'll shut it down, wait for news, and see what occurs. So if we're able to get some retracement prior to news, which it doesn't look like, we've got a lot of momentum pulling us down here. But in the event that we're able to retrace back here prior to news, great, we're in. If not, we shut the trade down, wait for news to occur, and then, based on what's happening around news, how the market's reacting, then we can make a decision to get back into that trade. So there you have it. That's what we're looking at, utilizing Forex Joe's methodology and the daily trading regimen with the daily report. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Forex Joe and see what information he has to add for us today.
Okay, good morning, Brian. I put out a couple of reports yesterday, and the reason being is that we had some movement and wanted to try to get people involved. This is going to become kind of a reoccurring what we're going to be doing. We're going to be adding some new areas to the trade reports here sometime in February, possibly the 1st of March, to try to include more areas for those of you that are looking for specific trades. We want to encourage everyone, as Brian said, to ask questions. We're not Nostradamus. We're not the amazing Kreskin. We're just going to think that everybody that comes to these live classes, if you're not asking questions, that you're doing what is being asked and that you're having success. What we're finding out is that sometimes people don't ask for help. So we'll be trying to address that. And in our next boot camp, we're going to be focusing especially in that area. I'll be adding some videos here before too long to begin the process for the next boot camp. We haven't decided when it's going to start. We'll decide that here in the next couple of weeks, and whether we're going to start in February or March, the next one. Right now, what we're seeing is stocks are down, bonds are up, and the dollar seems to be taking a dump. so to speak. Last I saw, the dollar was up to about 36.50 area. So we've had kind of a run up to where we've had a low of around 35.70. No, excuse me, 35.29. That's kind of a key area, 35.29, for those of you. And I think Brian was talking about that reversal yesterday. And we've been as high as around 36.55 area. 36.68, I think, has been kind of the high. So we've had kind of a run up on the dollar. Gold is up, so kind of be cognizant of what's happening there. We've had some news events. One of the news events, they were talking about the U.S. November monthly home prices, which you've heard me talk religiously about, that until we get our real estate market straightened up, we're really not going to have any type of recovery in this economy. I don't care what they tell you. But the home prices were 7.6 versus 8.2 the prior year. So we've got existing home sales at the top. Jobless claims wasn't too bad. Had some other news from overseas. It looks like the U.S. Canadian has kind of slowed down. The Canadian went all the way up to 111. Now, this is something that we talked about. Once we hit parity in a dollar, we then set our sights on 105. Once we hit 105, we set our sights on 110. Now it's going to be interesting since we've hit 110 and up to 111. Somewhere between 111 and 112 is going to be the key. So we're in a key area for the U.S. Canadian right now to see if we're going to have a retracement, possibly come back to the 110 area, or what's taking place if we break 112, what the next number in the sequence will be, and I'll be adding that number here in the report. So those of you that's been riding the Canadian up, pretty much like we did the U.S. yen last year, you hear me talk about the Canadians turning back into like the U.S. yen. We've had 1,000 pips, 1,100 pips now in a short period of time with the U.S. Canadian once we hit parity. And then we got to 105, kind of stalled there, 105, 106 area, kind of bounced around, and then we've kind of shot up here in the last month all the way up to 110. We had the news yesterday from the Bank of Canada. We talked about it extensively in the reports of what to look for. They did come out with what one of the scenarios that we looked at, and this is what's pushed it up. So you were foretold what was going to happen. For it to push up, you were foretold what was going to happen if in the statement, if it was going to bounce back down and retest the previous areas. So they got what we wanted to see. It's bounced up. You can get that Bank of Canada decision that has full text for those of you that want to go on the internet and look at that. Most of you don't care, I know. But the Canada retail sales today was 0.4 versus 0.5. So that was another bad number for the Canadian. They did have some good retail sales for Christmas. It looked like it was up to 0.6 versus minus 0.1, so that may have stymied the rise for right now, so we'll be paying attention to that. The pound yen, we give out numbers for those of you on the round table. It looks like that we've had a kind of a breakdown since the last time I took a look at this. We had been all the way up to about above the 173 area, and we've had a retest all the way back down to near 172. So that's pretty much closed that deal out. I'll be getting those final numbers, and then I'll be doing two videos. I'll be doing the videos on what it was in the round table, and then the videos on what Kirk did as far as the trades that he executed. We'll have those videos. Today's Thursday, and I got some other things going on. I just recorded a video, a couple other things that I'm doing. So we'll have that up over the weekend. This being the latter part of the training week, not much is going to be happening. Look for some profit taking tomorrow and Friday, as we usually do, and we'll be taking a look at the opportunities, getting ready for next week. The other end of the spectrum is, let me just kind of pull over here and see what we have. Looking at the yen. The yen's broken below 104, which we had a possibility of that happening. So right now you're seeing some risk aversion with what's taking place in the markets as we kind of get to the latter part of this week. We'll see if that continues. Brian's going ahead and give up your setups for what's taking place under current market conditions. Brian, I don't see any questions, so I'll hand it back over to you. If anybody has any questions, let me know, and we'll get back to everybody as soon as possible. If you have questions throughout the weekend, just send them in to support, and we'll try to answer those in these live classes. So, Brian, back over to you, my friend.
All right. Thank you very much, Forex Joe. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We do post the class updates on there. So after Monday's or after Tuesday's class, we had an update from what we did with our live trades, and those actually hit. We got a few pips out of that. It wasn't anything spectacular. I think we ended up with about 17 pips or so, but better than a poke in the eye, right? so that's posted on there. And obviously today, as we wrap up today, we'll talk about the trades we put on today. We'll see how we handled after news, and we'll post those trades out there as well, so you guys can see exactly how the method is shaping up and how we're applying those methods in real markets. So there you have it. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you being here. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We're back here Monday night. We'll be on for our really quick class where we just talk about setups for the week, and then we'll be back Tuesday and Thursday as well for live classes. Sounds like one of our scalp for trades kicked in. Looks like here this pound that we took, picked in, locked in some profit at 9 pips. We'll let that one play out. As I mentioned before, these other trades, if we get there, great. If not, we'll shut these down here in about 10-15 minutes. Wait till news, and then we'll be back on after news to get it going. I think Daniel is under Mr. Forex Joe. There should be a link on our website. I'll throw that in on the next class if it's not on there.
Yeah, Brian, why don't you go ahead and have Chuck put it in the members area and have a link to where people can get into the members area and then just link to it automatically there.
All right. Sounds good. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll chat to you then. Have a great one.